mic check, mic check. Baby, we're back. Week 2 of streaming. Good to see everyone in the chat. I even see my wife in here, so good to see you, babe. Well, here we are yet again. Thank you for joining me. We've got several people already in the chat. We've got Pal, Creator Hut, My Camera Junkie. Welcome back, man. Good to see you. Filmmaker's Home, Sam Merrill. Good to see you, Sam. Sam, you've been a regular too. Man, I love that beard in that photo too. Madison, Paladin, Oliver, Adam, and others. So welcome everybody. This week we're changing up the title a little bit. You may have noticed we're doing a video production. I forgot what I even called this thing. The video production hotline or something like that. So we're going to be doing a bunch of Q&A, so get your questions ready. If you do have a question, it would be really helpful if you guys were able to, wow, I need to figure out how to turn on that sound. We'll get to that here in a second. If you can reply me, if you will. So if you do @DSLR Video Shooter, that pops up on my screen, and that way I can find your questions while all of you lovely people are talking to each other in the chat. I am switching things up just so you know. Can I show this to you without giving away any critical information? I think so, so I'm going to go for it. You only live once. Oh my goodness, infinity. But yeah, right here. This window here, I'm using Ecamm Live to run this stream, and I've got the comments working. So hopefully that means I'm not going to have to deal with the awful, chat jumping all over the place. So we're going to be trying that, but it makes this pop sound every time someone comments. So I may have to turn that off at some point. Let's get through some other stuff we're going to be talking about up here on the channel shortly. Next week, so this week we did the rig, which I've got right here. We can talk about that, and I actually have some questions for you guys in regards to the rig and maybe kind of a follow-up live stream, if you will. We did that video. Next week, it depends if it is horrible, but I'm going to be talking about a really, really strange camera, and I can actually show it to you right now because I got it set up. This is the camera. Wow, it looks very red on some screens, but I haven't touched the color at all. Let me know what you think of this. Is it something we should cover? It's a very strange, very affordable camera that is a little strange. So we'll probably be covering that next week. If not, I'm going to have to pull something else out of my back pocket for an episode on the channel. Anything else to cover here? Hoping to get guests on the show if we're going to continue to do this regularly. So let me know what creators you would love to see on the show, and I'm planning on reaching out to several friends, and I think that'd be a lot of fun to go ahead and have some other people on here instead of just me. Last thing before we jump into questions, content-wise, I really would be curious. I haven't really asked you guys in a while, but I'd love to know from you, what brought you to the channel? Was there a particular video or type of content that brought you here? And secondly, is there anything you want to see more of? Because I cover a lot here. Sometimes I get more into desk setups, video setups. Other times I'm more into cameras. So it's kind of all over, but I'd just be really curious to hear what you guys would like to see more on the channel. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop into the chat here. Alex Miner, good to see you, man. Whew, it's been a while. I'm gonna scroll up here. Do I see the tags on here? Maybe I won't see them in the eCam, so I'm gonna have to use that on the YouTube chat. Live streaming. Oh, here we go. Okay, so that does work. So I'm going to scroll up here a little bit and find a good spot to dive in. Thoughts on using a budget Canon DSLR as a video camera, 200D SL2 instead of just for photo. Diago, that's why this channel exists, is using DSLRs for video. So I think it's totally a viable option. Maybe not those cameras would be my first choice. I'm more of a mirrorless guy these days, and no, I'm not changing my channel name, but those are still, great cameras on a budget. Scrolling down here a little bit. How do you learn good lighting, and is it an art? Christian, it is absolutely an art, and you just got to light a bunch of stuff. One way I learn, and actually the reason this channel exists, except for, aside from just being into DSLRs, is I put up a couple videos on Vimeo in 2009, 2010, and it was just me practicing with whatever I could afford, which at the time was shop lights. I think I even just borrowed from my grandfather. Halogen, burn your house down shop lights, and I didn't use black wrap. I couldn't afford it, believe it or not. So I actually bought or used aluminum foil, which is a massive fire hazard. You should not do that. But I put those up online, got people's critique, had a little community going there, and that's kind of what launched DSLR Video Shooter, because a lot of people were asking questions. So I just kept making videos. But yeah, light a bunch of stuff, watch a bunch of stuff, and try to emulate it. That's a great way to go. And if you can't get big lights in a space, get some action figures, something small where you can take your phone light, and now that thing is a 6-inch, compared to the size of your little Lego figure or whatever. Watch videos. There's lots of great tutorials online. All right. Dropping down into the chat. Thoughts on using... Oh, we covered that question. How come you decide to go for a condenser microphone for a live stream instead of a shotgun? Either one would work. These are designed to be really close. Shotguns totally work for that, but there can be some more plosive issues there. And I just had this one on hand. So here we are with it. Are you still using Canon vintage Shannon vintage glass, or have you changed? I can never use just one set. I think I may have sold some of those. I can't recall. But there will be some more vintage lens content on the channel before too long. Very excited for that. Love the heck out of your video about the compact rig build. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that. And yeah, I have some questions for you guys in regards to that. We'll go through some more comments here. Maybe we'll come back to that. But essentially, as we're talking, started thinking about, a lot of you guys asked for audio solutions, which I did not cover at all in that video, yesterday's video. So it'd be kind of fun to maybe brainstorm some ideas, and maybe in a future live stream, we'll just switch to this camera. That is that camera. And we can just build the rig and mess around with it. That'd be kind of fun. But I'm glad you liked it. A lot of people like that. I was very pleasantly surprised. Not that I thought you'd hate it, but how much does the rig cost from YouTube user? At the end of the video, I talk about all the pricing options. So full kitted out with EVFs, monitors, just everything in that video, just under $2,000. But you can get it down to $900 by cutting some stuff out. And then, you know, instead of buying a $75 handle, you could get a $30 handle, things like that to bring it down even more, which is fun. Am I going to be on camera and flash today? Yes, Shazam. So actually, for those who don't know, let's see, it's 4:09 local time here in Chicagoland, which means in maybe 40 minutes, I'll end this stream, use the restroom, grab a beverage, and be over at Jem Schofield's channel, and we get mega nerdy over there when it comes to video stuff. So if you want to check that out, go to youtube.com/the-C47, C47, and I'll be live over there with those guys. Okay. Sean Switch, how did you deal with external pressures when it came to having a stable income? Are you talking about running a channel like this? Because at first it's a wild, wild west. You just got to do what you got to do. And I was single at the time, which really helps. I can't imagine starting today with a normal job and then switching to something like this. But it's interesting, and it's still all over the place. Not every month is the same. But yeah, budgeting and more content on maybe money stuff in the future. Let's see, Alex Miner, good to see you, dude. You and your build videos, they cost me money. I sure look good on Zoom though. Love it. Yeah. CES 2022 ? I don't know. I've never been to CES. Yes, MKB HD merch. This is the retro Apple Macintosh shirt, which I love. Rig to quick connect camera to Ronin gimbal for tripod. A lot of people also ask about gimbals, and that's something I haven't tried. I don't know. I should weigh this, but I'm not a big gimbal guy, so I'm not up to date as to what gimbals can handle, but I think you might be able to get that guy in there. At least you could strip it down a little bit and totally be able to do that. Have you done a DIY teleprompter project, Rick? No, I've not. I think they're getting pretty affordable now, where it makes a lot of sense. I think you can get them for $100, $200 now. I think this one was $200 for a decent size. So if anything, if I do a DIY, it's going to be on monitors, getting, you know, a cheap monitor for a setup like that. Thank you, Gadiel. Appreciate it. The classic red cheaper camera. Yes, I've actually got another red video coming up. So we did the red one and a sneak preview. We're talking about the red Scarlet next, which will be fun. Good to see here, Wosley, if I'm saying it right. RN, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Here from the desk all in one. Nice. We talked about that. Add a microphone. Yes. Want to add some audio stuff. Can't recall what got me onto your channel, but would love to see a quick video on working on raw ProRes footage. Okay, raw footage. Nice. Alex Miner. Let's see if this works. Will this work? Can I do this? I'm learning on the job here, folks. Bear with me. Oh, we've got a couple super chats. Oh, here we go. Add a broadcast. Boom. Alex Miner dropping a $10 super chat. A bribe to keep you streaming. Well, dude, it's good to see you. I missed you last week. So, gonna try to get back on that horse and do this every week. So it should be fun. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. $10. Love me some Alex Miner. Everyone should check out his channel too. He's got a great channel. Nate's Film Tutorials. I'm here for you and you alone. That's very sweet of you. Found your reviews and subscribe for the desk setups. Okay, we got desk squad going on here. He isn't really a video guy, but Mike Del Gaudio might be a superb guest. Sweet. YouTube setup on one desk. Best $200 DSLR vlogging camera. Probably one of the early flip out screen from Canon. Those what is it? What was the first flip out? The 60D? Am I remembering that correctly? I wonder what those go for, but that'd probably be where I start. Rode Wireless Go 2, definitely bought those based on your video. Nice. Yeah, I'm hoping to do another video, kind of some hacks, some tricks with that would be fun. And Camille coming in hot with €5 for the booze. Nice. I'm going to need that after what we're going to be sipping on the stream here shortly. So thank you. Thank you. All right. How about using bridge camera for filming? Using bridge camera. I'm not sure what you mean. Is that a software? Let me know, Grace. What's up, my guy? You gonna be on camera and flash today? Yes, Shazam. Definitely. All right. Okay, here's another question. Ooh, Wandering DP. I love that guy so much. Man, that's a good podcast. Paterno. I'm awful with names. I'm sorry. Yes, watching his content. So if you're into lighting, for sure, Wandering DP, that's a phenomenal place to get some info. Please the name of the white light that you're using behind me. Oh, what's it called? It's like a knockoff Mole Richardson that I painted white. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna have to look that up. Brute 6. If you Brute 6, I think that's what it is. By Color something. Can't remember though. Any recommendations for an affordable camera for shooting smaller products for e-commerce? Think shoes, gloves, hand tools, etc. From Todd D. For that, if you don't need shallow depth of field, man, I think Micro Four Thirds is your way to go. If the object isn't going to move a lot. So like a GH5 with some lights, that would be a great way to go. Caleb, your videos always make me want to spend so much money. Always such great gear recommendations. Thank you, JP. How do you manage your time with all you do? I don't know. Daniel? Okay, Daniel, yeah. It's a concept battle, right? So a lot of people probably don't think this, but when it comes to actually making videos, like filming myself, filming the product, that's maybe at best 10% of what I do. Maybe. Most of it is running the business, doing taxes, payroll, editing some videos, but I even have an assistant do that. Dealing with all the, buying the gear, testing the gear. And a big part of it also is like with this camera that I'm thinking about doing a video on, which is incredibly red for some reason. We'll have to fix that in another time. Stuff like that is like, is the project even viable? So I might spend a bunch of time researching something, purchasing equipment, just to find out, this really isn't going to work out, or I shouldn't recommend this because there's too many problems with it. And I just scrap all that time and start all over. So that eats up a ton of time. But I would say when it comes to actually how to manage it, recently I've been using just a basic calendar and filling up the 9 to 5 hours with something. Every moment is filled, and all those pop up as alerts on my phone to keep me on target. And I think that's probably the best way to stay on top of things for me. But, there's always things to learn with that. Will I be going to Vegas, NAB in October? Still on the fence on that. Haven't fully decided yet. We'll see. You made a little joke in the new rig video about using your hand on the manual lens as opposed to using your tilta. If the budget is tight, any tips for smooth manual focus by hand? Brett, great question. I'll have to watch that part of the video again. One of my favorites is not to use manual focus. Kind of set your focus, and then what I'll do often is if I'm struggling to get that perfect shot, I'll set the focus, take a step back, and then I'll move in to focus. So if this is the move right here, I'm in focus. That's a great way to get some camera movement, and just move the camera. If you're close enough, just use your body to kind of get that last 10%. Otherwise, just a lot of practice with the lenses, and a good monitor really helps. I hate peaking. I know everyone's all about peaking, but it makes me nuts. Let's see here. I better giddy up here. By tight budget, I mean no budget for focus gear other than my hands. Yeah, those tips are a good way to start. You need a behind the scenes for your awesome morphing B-roll. I did a video on that actually, Jared. It completely flopped, I think, if I remember correctly. But if you search morph effect or something on my channel, it's not that old of a video, so you could just go to uploads and scroll down, but you'll find it, where I talk about how I do that and some tips as to how you can make that happen. Any tips for lighting with RGB lights for corporate? Don't go too ham, and be careful when the color is hitting people, because things can go really sideways in post when you're trying to work with the color. And practice, get used to your lights. But a good tip I found is be careful about spill. If you have a key light that's hitting your RGB background, it's going to look completely different. If you've got it set to red, you're going to get pink, but it's hard to see that on the camera sometimes, so just got to be careful. And subtle, you use a gray background and then just add little pops of color. How much does the rig cost? We already talked about that, and it's $2,000 or $1,500 or $1,100 or I think $900. If you watch the end of the video, that's where that is. Do you still film the stuff in your basement? Seems like you've been on a new studio lately. Yes. So completely moved, what is it, a year and a half, 2 years ago? So the video's on the channel. You can see the whole studio tour. We've doubled the space since then, and I've not updated that. So we'll probably have to do a studio tour here. Any update on the ATEM mini cases? Case for the ATEM Extremes. Still going to stick with the smaller ATEMs for now, and then get to the Extremes once I figure out a laser cutter and all that kind of stuff. Best dedicated streaming computer. Is a Mac Mini viable? I think so, especially the M1s. I really want to try that actually, but I haven't yet. Rig was the best. Thank you, Grace. How's the delay on the Cine Eye? I think you could just pull focus with that, Michael, but it's been a while since I tried. I think I did a review on that, so you can check out the latency there. Wanting to upgrade from a GH5, still need IBIS, internal 10-bit 422, okay with micro four thirds, want a good autofocus for gimbal work. Where should I go? EVA 1? Oh, man. Wanting good autofocus, I think you're going to have to go Sony. Sony is probably the way to go for autofocus. So kind of the new crop of Sony cinema cameras is probably what I would stick with. Buying cheap is buying expensive, kind of, depending on what kind of cheap you're buying. Oh my goodness, another super chat from Carmen. $10. Got into your videos looking for someone. Sorry, I gotta move this. I'll just put it on over my face. Looking for someone like me with not much hair. I'm a professor, and when I had to start teaching online, your videos became invaluable. You taught me. Fan of the entire setup on one stand. Nice. Well, thank you so much for the $10, and I'm glad I was able to help out. A lot of educational and medical people and even lawyers have been checking that stuff out. So that's super interesting, but super glad to have you aboard. Jolene, I do multi-camera live streaming more like concerts. Need rigs for steady, slow zooming control at lengths using wireless cam links. Honestly, those nanos are pretty good. My last video, I talked about that wireless system. For a while, we were using those for my main set, having longer lenses and controlling those wirelessly. That's a great budget way to go. Do you ever revisit the Amaran 200D after the firmware updates because of the noise? No, I haven't. I heard that all they did was make it a constant fan noise. So it's still a great light if you aren't going to have it super close to you, if you just need tons of output. But I still think the 100D, that's where it's at. Like to see online production. OBS Ninja Guy. The biggest takeaway from these videos is not gear people should get, but the fact that you can be inventive, go out and try stuff, understanding and learning as you go. Absolutely. And a lot of people think I'm like, oh, I got to have the cheap gear, and I like cheap gear, which I really appreciate, something that's affordable. But I think the best thing, and one thing the reason you're not going to see me be like, buy an R5 with a Rode VideoMic Pro is just because it's boring, and there's so many great hacks and ways to take stuff that's more affordable and make something that doesn't exist, and that works really well. That's one of my favorite things in the world. Big fan since using DSLR was the only solution for a budget filmmaker. Whew, yeah, player do. Man, it's dark days back when we all got started. Looking into getting a Canon FD glass. Do you have any favorites? Ooh, the stuff that makes the radioactive frequencies or radioactive meters go off. Those are the good. That's the good stuff for sure. There's a video, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy, you guys can let me know. He did a really long video on FDs. He's got a ton of great information. I don't think you can really go wrong with any of them. I wouldn't buy the f2.8 stuff. I would try to get something a little faster, but all of them are awesome. Let's see. What percentage of YouTube work versus normal production do you do? 100% YouTube work. So there's no room for anything else at this point. And I've told many people, including some film or YouTubers who have really taken off recently, that if you're going to do this, you got to choose one or the other. One of them is going to be sickly if you're going to do both. So I have yet to know of someone who does regular commercial work and gets paid for it and YouTube, and both are wildly successful. You know, they exist for sure, but it's super duper rare. So if you're going to get into one or the other, you got to pick which one's going to be the sickly one. Thoughts on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K? Love it, except for ergonomics and autofocus and no Final Cut support. Coming out to Chicago for Cold Wave Festival in September. Nice, Christian. Maybe we can connect. You're a big help, inspiration, Twitch streamer here. Oh, cool. Sweet. Yeah, sorry about costing you so much money, Hope. And a big super chat from Yosef. If I'm saying that correctly, $50. What? I enjoy the rig from yesterday. How is the weight? Is it heavy enough to not need a gimbal and just a little bit of cinematic shape? I sometimes want a rig. Let's see if I can make this where I can read it. Other times I'm into the Brandon minimalism. Thanks for your videos. Nice, dude. Well, thank you for the donation. It's not bad. I mean, it depends, right? It depends on what you're used to. If you're used to just holding one camera, it's going to get old, you know, after a day. But I try to keep it light enough where you can do this number, you know. But it's with the two hands, that's where it really comes together. And if you're using the EVF, you can take the camera, pull it up against your chest. You've got the EVF there. That's a great way to go too. Or you can strip it down and get rid of half of the weight here for something much smaller. So because you can remove the camera and put it on a gimbal, I think, you know, it'll still be good. But it's definitely not going to be twitchy. No one wants twitchy. You want, you know, if you're going to have some movement, it to be really smooth. All right, I am behind, so I'm going to have to giddy up here. Another super chat from Clayton. $5, $5 Russian? I don't know what that is. Sony A7C. Is it really good for video? Say hello to Brazil. Hello, Brazil. I think ergonomically, it's what the A7 III should have been. But I'm not wild about those cameras because of color. Sony is just mess over there in 8-bit land. So if possible, save for an A7S III. But if you can't, that's a wonderful camera if you don't care about, you know, nitpicky little colored things. So yeah. What is that vintage light in the background? I'm gonna have to do a whole live stream on that thing. Maybe we'll bust that out one of these days and cover that. But it's a light I modded and it needs some more work because it flickers. Wonderfully helpful over the years, bro. Thanks for views. All right. try to speed up here and catch up with everyone. Checking the time. What camera are you using to stream right now? This is the Canon RP with the RF 35mm. Love my GH5 or 4. Do you think Micro Four Thirds will going to exist in the next few years? As long as they keep selling, I think they're going to keep making them. And I love them. I love them. Red Raw or Sony 10-bit? If you want raw workflow, then Red Raw for sure. I think Red Raw in Final Cut's wonderful. But for me, probably just kind of a lower bitrate 10-bit 422 is what I'm going to rock, until, Blackmagic comes to Final Cut. Speaking of, from Matthew, how do you feel about Blackmagic Raw on Final Cut using Color Finale? I haven't tried it yet. If I remember correctly, it didn't look wicked smooth. So I just really hope they can shake hands and be friends and we can have that. Or else I would potentially switch to all Blackmagic. Do you have any idea for a stand-in mannequin for trying lighting setups? Material should behave similar to skin, not too much reflect. That's a good question. I mean, you could paint it, probably. Find some matte paint. But yeah, mannequins can be tricky. If you get a mannequin, get like a darker mannequin. Don't get a white one, because that'll completely screw everything up. There'll be bounce everywhere. I'm between the A7S III and the Blackmagic 6K Pro. I'll wait for the A7 IV. Yeah. That's a good idea. What of all the stuff have you created, the one that you like the most? You like most and why? I don't know if I can pick one video, but anything DIY, I think. I really enjoy that stuff. I really don't like filming it. It takes a lot of work because you have to come up with the idea, film all the pieces and parts, film the final thing, which you had to build to test. Then you have to tear it all down, film the individual parts, build it back together while filming it. So it's a lot of work, a lot of parts, a lot of links and things. But really like the DIY stuff because it's, you start with an idea and you eventually have to figure out how to make that a real thing. That a whole other layer is making sure people can actually build it. Instead of just check out this cool thing I built. All right, peace. You got to be able to, explain how it works, how to put it together, make sure the parts are available. So it's a really interesting exercise, and I really enjoy that. What do you think of the Atomos Ninja Inferno in 2021? Got a line on one for just under $300. Nice. I think that's a good way to go. Still great recorders. Been thinking about getting your video guide for the S1. I'm leaving the Sony ecosystem. Does the guide go in depth on the S1? Yes, it does. It doesn't include the newest firmware update. Working on getting that updated. But yeah, if you haven't already, you might consider the S5 too. That's a great camera. Notice YouTube camera gear reviews haven't been getting much traction as they used to. How do you deal with that when uploading new content? From Nate's Film Tutorials, which he's got a great channel. You should check him out. Honestly, I haven't done many reviews in a while. If you look back, I haven't here's a new camera, let's review it much, at least as much as I used to. I can't really help you out there. I just kind of stopped doing them because I got tired of it. I just feel weird being like, here's the new thing, you should buy it. And I just wanted to kind of, get back into DIY and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know if you're going for views, stick maybe with cameras. There's a lot of random stuff on the edges that you could avoid and do bigger stuff like cameras. You could approach it from a different angle, like this camera versus this camera, as opposed to just the whatever the name is thing review, But if possible, maybe just ignore all of that. I know obviously views is income, but yeah, I don't know if that was helpful at all. I like the filming card the best. What a great idea for a freelancer. Nice. Part-time films. I'm gonna jump down here. Getting new video equipment. I'm new to getting video equipment. I'm looking for a solid but cheaper monopod with feet. Space is an issue. Or a tripod. Any favorite brand recommendations? Benro, Suray, has some good stuff. Manfrotto, I still have my ancient Manfrotto monopod. Or just get a tripod with legs and close the legs up real tight. You'll want to put some weight on the bottom of them, but that's a good way to go too. Predictions on the GH6, I don't know anymore. Art of Creeper. I hope autofocus, but I doubt it. That's all. That's all I got. Donnie Rosie, good to see you, Donnie. So why did you get back into doing live streams? I missed the people, even though we're not hanging out in person. I felt like I was just kind of in a room making videos and then just kind of like pushing them off on a little raft into a dark sea at night. It's kind of how it felt. So wanted to carve out some time to do this and hang out with everyone. GH5S, still a good camera. Absolutely. Love that thing. Actually, all the B-roll on my last video, that was all GH5S, because this is the A7S, which I've been using recently, but it was in a rig. So if you want to see what GH5S looks like in 2021, that's what's going on. Do you have thoughts on full frame versus using speed booster? Full frame if possible, I would say, unless you're on Panasonic, and that doesn't matter because autofocus. But full frame is going to be better looking because you're not optically doing stuff inside of the camera. Also, I realize I'm not centered in the frame. Suitable 1080p 60 camera in the $200 to $400 range for live streaming. I mean, this camera might work once I fix this red, but we'll talk about that maybe next week. And it's under 200 bucks. It's exciting, and interchangeable lenses, fun. What do you? We cover that one. XLR cables don't work well for DMX lights. Okay, good to know. Thank you, Indoor Cycling. G7 guide, it gives me a lot of confidence with the camera. Thank you for doing them. Thank you, Scott, for saying that. When shooting an interview on the top floor 26, where there's a lot of traffic noise from the street, should I use a shotgun mic above the subject pointing down? You want to obviously point it away from the traffic, but not directly away, because often a shotgun microphone, like let's just do this. If this is a shotgun microphone and this is the business end that picks up the audio, most shotgun microphones have what's called a tail, where it'll actually pick up a little bit of sound right here. So if you can imagine, it's exciting the first time I use my whiteboard. If you can imagine, here's your shotgun microphone, and here's the person you're filming. You want to pay attention to what is here and what is in this direction. So if you've got an air conditioner right here, you don't want that, because the tail of the microphone is going to pick that up. So just be mindful with that. Is microphones, not all, but if you're using a traditional supercardioid, hypercardioid, you're going to have some issues there. So just something to think about. Good question, though. Thank you. What do you think about the Sony a6500 in 2021? Oh, interesting. Yes, totally good. Still will work. Might overheat. Great autofocus. Meh. 8-bit again still, and no flip out screen. But yeah, for like a live streaming camera like this, gold. Okay. Like to see something on the IR remote live production, how to do high quality streams with remote guests. Yeah, so with the software I'm using right now, Ecamm, really good for that. If you have a Mac, which you prefer good video quality, video with normal audio quality, normal video quality with good audio. I'm struggling to understand that exactly, but audio takes the cake unless the video is really terrible. Obviously, both somewhere in the middle is nice. Let's see here. Oh, I gotta catch up, folks. We've got some super chats down here. I might have to jump ahead, guys, and I apologize. And we're probably gonna wrap up here in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to hop down in the chat because we've got some super chats from Sam. $20. Fun to hear you live. Are you by chance still looking to put together a content creator or a creator's course? Yes, Sam, that is being written right now in my spare time because I'm trying to keep the channel alive here. But yes, it's on the way, and it's going to be a beast. Not sure about length, but it's pretty much, I'm just ending up putting everything I know in there. So everything from pre-production, should you start doing YouTube at all, how to survive that. I'm going to do a section with my wife where we talk about relationally, how do you deal with doing this, all the struggles with that. And then we get, of course, to gear, backup, taxes, budgeting for your business, post-production. I mean, cameras, setups, whole section on studio setups and how to take any space and make it work for you. It's going to be a monster. I'd love to do it by the end of the year, and that's still kind of my goal, but it's going to be a monster. So thank you so much for the donation and for giving me a little opportunity to try to sell stuff to people. Appreciate you, man. And then I thought there was another one down here. Oh, there's a couple. Oh boy, here we go. Beats with Kev, $5 super chat. And he says, favorite app-controlled RGB lights with USB-C charging. I made my Zcam E2 rig. Nice. All thanks to you. Okay, sweet. Okay. Favorite app-controlled RGB lights with USB-C charging. Does the MC from Aperture have USB-C charging? Because that one's still my favorite. They have those bulbs, which are cool, but I'm finding I just use the MCs more. You can stick them in a light fixture, and they work great. So MC is one of my favorite lights of all time still. I should do a video on like using multiple ones because I've been doing that a lot. Yeah, I'm going to say that. I really want Aperture to release the F7 Mark II or whatever they'll call it. The F7 is my other favorite light of all time. I did a video and it still is my favorite light. It's really bright, but it needs that RGB life and it needs all those goodies that the MC has. So essentially, imagine a larger MC, and that's what I'd love to see. But for now, for RGB, I'm going to go with the Aperture MC. Oh, don't want to do that. Randomly clicking stuff. And Scott Craig Films, $10. Looking to jump from a Canon DSLR to cinema level camera. Suggestions for the budget conscious. What features are most important to you, Scott? That's what it's going to come down to. Yeesh. I mean, you've got the FX3, 6. Those are good cameras, I would say. Man, there's so many good options. It depends on how much you want to spend, or go vintage. You know, I've done a couple videos. There's some great stuff that you can buy secondhand. I haven't checked recently, but like a C300 Mark II might be an interesting option. You've got the Pocket 6K Pro. So yeah, if it was me today, you know, something like the FS5, FX6, something like that. A really good camera that maybe doesn't have the most beautiful everything, but it's going to work really well for you. So great question. And yeah, let me know if you've got a budget or some specific features that you're looking at. My goodness, you guys are out of control. David Bennett, $20. I've used just about every editing system out there. However, I much prefer Avid MC for just about every type of editing, especially long form. Why is it never used by YouTubers? ? I don't know, man. We're all stuck in Apple Adobe land. That's a good question. I tried Avid 11 years ago and I was like, this sucks. And then I went back to Final Cut Pro, whatever version that was. But yeah, I really couldn't tell you. But thank you for the chat, and maybe I'll have to check that out now. Avid MC. Avid MC. Okay. There you go. Learn something new every day. All right, we're gonna fly through these super chat, guys. We're running low on time. Super chat, 2,000 huffs. Nice. From Enderboy. Any plans on a Discord server? We do have a Discord server, actually. And it's kind of weird because so if you buy one of my camera guides, you get access to the Academy's Discord server. We've got channels for different camera types and people over there. And then there's also one for YouTube members, which I don't even know if that shows up when you become a member. I'm going to have to check that out. But maybe I'll make a public one. So stay tuned to future episodes or future live streams, and we'll cover that. But yes, there is a Discord server, and we'll talk about that more in the future. All right, is that it? I think I got them all. Did I miss any? Okay, good. Oof. So we're coming in hot. We've got 6 minutes left. Let's do a lightning round here. Avid is complicated. Filmmaker's home. Resolve. Yep. Ah, man, I really should get into Resolve. I've just Final Cut. I'm stuck in a rut. I'm loving it. It's a good rut to be in, but I feel like Resolve is kind of black magic. You watch out. Those folks. They've got some stuff going on. Any tips on working with Canon's 35 megabits a second, 1080p 25 PAL IPB in 2021, or is it really worth it jumping to a Sony system? Only if you go A7S III. If otherwise, don't worry about it. Canon has way better 8-bit. I would say, it's tricky. Canon's slightly older stuff is just mushy. There's no way around it. I would try a new system. Maybe not Sony unless, again, you're going A7S III. But Panasonic, I still think the GH5 and the GH5S and the S1 and S5 have the best color of any hybrid right now. You can quote me. I said it. Color-wise, dynamic range is also good, but they've just V-Log on those cameras is really, really nice. GH6 question mark question mark question mark. Brandon, can't wait. I hope I am in the graces of Panasonic and can sneak one into the studio a little early and get a video out to you guys. But I don't know anything, and I haven't really checked the rumors. So, and I got a thumbs down for that. Rip. Another super chat from Ender Boy. Good grief. 1,000 huffs. Join the Resolve squad. Embrace color grading. Rebel. Nice, dude. I have played with it, and I do really dig it. But that's a big jump to go from Final Cut since ever, I suppose. Only ever really used Final Cut to a completely new system. But for editing, I should probably try it. So thanks for the extra shove there. All right. Any other questions, guys, as we wind down into the... Oh, actually, I probably got to get going. Dang. Yeah, 4:47. Okay, so here's the deal. Right after this stream, or in 13 minutes, I'm going live on Jem Schofield's channel for camera and flash. So youtube.com/THEC47, the letter C 47. Good night. Condor Blue, what are you doing up in here? Your lighting, as always, is top-notch, sets apart from most creators. Keep the fire content coming. Thank you, guys. Keep the awesome rigs coming. Love the cable. Actually, it's right here on this rig. Good times. All right, folks, I got to bounce. I'll see you over at Jem Schofield's channel, the C47. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And we'll see you next week for another live stream. And see you in just a couple minutes over at Jem's.